What's going on, Badger fans? Welcome to the Freeform Friday call-in edition of Locked On Badgers. If you want to call in, do it. We got Justin over there. I'm over here. We got Curtis in the queue. Whatever you want to talk about. Indiana's coming up. Not a great recruiting day for Greg Gard. Basketball about to fire up. Connor Essegien not starting? Question mark. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everybody? Freeform Friday. We just do this one on YouTube. If you want to call in, join the show, please do it. We got Curtis in the queue. We got Justin and Bucky Report over there. Justin, I had to kind of remember how to spell your name because it's been a while since
it has been a bit since I hung. Yeah. We've been hanging out more than we've been actually doing shows together lately.
Well, it's nice to get you back on Locked On. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we're going to bring in Curtis right now. I imagine Curtis is one of our football guys. Indiana, where are we at on this Indiana game coming up?
I gave my projection yesterday with Rajiv, and I said I thought 31-14. I actually think the offense will click a little bit better than we're expecting in the passing game in this one. And I think we'll get enough out of the running game. I don't expect anything crazy. Like we may average 4.5 yards a carry or something like that against them. But I think it will work. I don't think the running game is going to be anything impressive, but I think it will get the job done. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. I think, and I, listening to your report earlier, a lot of what you said, I completely agree with. I think the thing that was interesting to me is I rewatched the Indiana Penn State game. I remember live, I think last week I was flipping between that and can't remember what other game I was watching, but it was the Kansas Oklahoma game, an infinitely better game.
Yes. Incredible game.
I don't put Indiana playing well against Penn State on Indiana as much as I just think that was the absolute worst game I've ever seen Penn State play. I mean, their first touchdown, the corner that was supposed to cover the seam guy just stood there flat-footed and let the guy run by him. It was almost like he was controller disconnected, just did not go with him for whatever reason. And it was just
it went dead.
and so then their second touchdown to go up 14-7, they ran a corner blitz and then no one covered the receiver. So the quarterback just looked over there, threw it to the receiver, and there was no one within 20 yards of him. It was like, okay, so that's, I guess, and I'll say this about Penn State. I think ever since Saquon left, I don't think they've had an offensive line that could run block worth a damn in any team.
I would 100% agree with that.
It wasn't like IU's line was even doing anything. They were doing their assignments. They were assignment sound. They didn't really make mistakes, but they were not. I mean, Iowa and Ohio State make that D line look like a high school D line, and it's I just whatever Penn State, they just were not there.
I think they came in thinking that this was going to be a walkthrough game, and it showed in the way that they played that game. And especially with that's exactly why I'm not totally concerned about Indiana. Two of those touchdowns were accounted for 160 yards of offense, and it was are they rely on hitting 70+ yard touchdown plays against Wisconsin? Because I can tell you that's probably not going to work.
Wisconsin, if we have a corner blitz and don't cover their corners, I'd be concerned. But I do give Truss a little bit more credit than that. And I give Jim Leonard trained players more credit than to leave someone completely wide open with no one anywhere on a blitz play. So.
I think we've weathered the storm with the broken plays. I think that guys seem to be making the plays that they're supposed to now. Now what we're seeing is when we make a mistake, it's just against a dude. Marvin Harrison in that last game,
athletes.
It's we can't. There's nothing you can do.
And they ran that crossing route and
3 or 4 times as most of his yards.
But the thing was, Fort Queen got picked on the play, and then Muma took after him late. Yeah. And Muma took after him late, and at that point, I mean, Muma that's just never going to happen. So I can't even get mad at that. And then there was a couple stretch plays they ran, so I was able to watch some of the all 22 because one of the pages I follow, they do a breakdown for a lot of Ohio State games, and the stretch play, I think where they got to the edge, every single defensive player hit their assignment 100% perfectly.
Except for Peterson.
Just didn't. It just no. I mean, it was he got blasted on the side, but even then, it didn't matter. They just outran the whole defense. So it was like, I mean, unless Indiana can have a Travion Henderson who can outrun our entire defense, which
newsflash, they don't. They have or it was not Travion Henderson. The other thing I'd say is Penn State was coming off of that Ohio State game. Mm-hmm. Like that has an impact.
I mean, both teams they were down a little bit from where they were.
Right.
Like, the energy level wasn't there for Ohio State, and it wasn't there for the other.
And Indiana, by the way, has 2 wins this year, which are against it's Akron and Indiana State. They're 2-6. This is not.
Akron was overtime.
And Akron was overtime. The only impressive win they have this year from a score perspective is Indiana State. Like I don't understand the trepidation from Badger fans as much with this Indiana game. I understand it's a road game. I understand Wisconsin's been inconsistent throughout the course of the season, but Indiana doesn't do much that scares me, quite frankly. They have gotten a little more consistent quarterback play recently. That is something that's happened.
I don't know what his health status is, because he in the fourth quarter, he was grasping his shoulder at the end of the game. I don't know where he's at. I didn't actually. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't look, but he looked like he was in pain at the end of that game.
I think I'd be more concerned with this game if Locke wasn't such a young quarterback. I think that when you have somebody that's that young, they're so concerned with just putting together a good game. And it's different when you have a guy who's kind of locked in and been doing it for like 20 starts and is like, I'm used to what I need to be doing every time. They tend to get more lax with some of the stuff. When you have a guy like Locke who just wants to be productive, I feel like you end up having him locked in because he's still waiting for his first big game. Like, he had a nice game against Illinois, but I think that he can build off that, and it wouldn't shock me. Like I told Rajiv, I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked if he throws out a 3 touchdown, 1 pick game. I think that'd be a great game from him in this. Like, that would be a really nice day for him to do that in like 250 yards, which I think they are going to lean on him more heavily because I think they're going to have to.
That's the thing, right? Without Braylon, Locke is going to carry the offense, period.
Yeah.
You're not going to say Jackson Aker carries.
You're getting 25 carries, especially with how thin that room is. Like, you can't afford it. If he goes down.
I just don't think you put him in that position. Like, he's a young physical player, but I don't think you're going to give him 25 carries. And then are you going to give Cade Yakimelli even 5?
Yeah.
Maybe, but that's probably the extent of it. So Locke is carrying the day. And honestly, for a kid, look at where he's played, right? He came in against Iowa, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, this is the easiest game by far for him.
By far.
Oh, this is the easiest game, I think, in general, since Buffalo. Like, I was looking at the defensive stats for Indiana. I mean, my God, like, this is the first game I think we'll play a defense that's not even in like the top 100. So, this is a great opportunity for a get right game.
I think one of the other things I look at with this is there were some underlying really nice things that he showed in that Ohio State game. The stat line stinks, but I don't take a lot away from that. There were a lot of positives to take away. He didn't throw the ball around. Like, he had a chance. I mean, there were probably opportunities where he could have got picked, but there were also plays where guys could have made plays for him. Like, I'm sure some of the fans were sitting there and be like, oh, there was a safety that dropped it. Yeah, but if Bryson Green would have caught the ball when it went through his hands, the safety never even gets an opportunity at. So some of the stuff is like they talked about this on Heilprin and Jesse Temple Heilprin, where they said that we're one of the worst teams in the country for drop rate. We're in the top 14 or something like that. Yeah, worse than the Big Ten. 8% drop rate.
Does that shock anybody?
No, it doesn't at all. Like, it's incredible how poor we've been in terms of catching passes this season.
In our team's defense, we never really had to catch passes in the past.
No, this is true. Well, we weren't this bad. Even in limited opportunities, we didn't have this level of drops.
Although the warning signs for Sky have always been there, right?
Yes.
That's the one dude.
He had problems last year. Yep.
He had drops.
And he's in the top. He's like close to the top in the country for drops.
Yeah. He had dropsies last year. Let's take a couple of these comments quick, because again, this is really just about wherever y'all want to take it. I saw a comment from Eilers. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Basketball season doesn't kick in until basically the bowl game. So we're gonna have to talk some basketball.
It's a good season for it though, because there's a lot of big early matchups. Like, normally we would have a non-con that's got like maybe 1 game or 2 games. This one's got like 4 or 5 that are just like You're going to have they're going to be big games, marquee games. They might be better than most of the stuff we see in the actual Big Ten season.
We're going to get you into some basketball there, Curtis. A couple of fire grade guard comments. The fans are in regular season form here already.
Yeah, all right. Locked in.
I'm glad the fans are locked in, yeah.
Here's a question for you guys. And again, this is just, we can go any direction we want to on a show like this. Melvin or JT?
I'm Melvin.
Melvin. I take Melvin.
The things I saw from him that season, again, the season, the 2,500-yard season, was just, I haven't seen another back dude besides Barry Sanders.
And even the Barry Sanders year, if you historically look, the greatest running back seasons in the history of college football, it's Barry and Gordon. And there's nobody close.
Yeah, there's nobody close. Like the closest I think is like 2,100 is like the most in the ballpark.
Just because that singular year is so stratospheric, incredible that nothing, and that JT is incredible. Like
he sets the record if he plays the fourth quarter against Nebraska.
Yeah,
I'll say this: I don't disagree that Melvin's season was by far the best running back season I think I've ever seen, at least in my life I've ever seen. And you can miss me with Saquon and all that.
That's garbage. Anyone that puts him in there, he was a good back. I'll give him credit.
Don't get me wrong. He's a beast. Don't get me wrong. But people saying that season was no. But the reason I picked JT is I think that one, if you look at the teams we played that season and in the 19 season, it was a much more difficult schedule. Teams were way better than they were in 14. A lot of the teams we played in 14, a lot of bad reputation of Big Ten West, that started back in the early 2010s when half those teams like Purdue, Northwestern at times, Illinois, like Minnesota, those teams were god awful. They were terrible. Iowa was decent, and that was about it. And then even the West teams like a Rutgers or Maryland, we played them. We beat Maryland 52-7 that year. That team was horrible, right? And so then you look at the 2019 season, a lot of those teams were significantly better. Iowa was better. We played Ohio State. We played. Can't remember who else we played. We played a couple other good teams. Michigan that year. I mean, we beat Michigan bad, but Michigan was a much better team than the average of teams playing 14. I just think that JT, in terms of balance, in terms of raw speed, which he is faster than Melvin, raw speed.
You can argue skill set for sure. I just go based off that season.
But remember,
that season was the best season by Ben.
Who was the quarterback that season for Gordon?
Joel Stave.
I mean, here's the crazy thing. Here's the craziest stat with the Melvin Gordon season. And listen.
This is why when people talk Ludwig, I get really irritated because he's an incredible offensive coordinator.
I mean,
that's
passing game, and we still average close to mid-30s.
Stave had more interceptions. I think Stave had more interceptions than touchdowns that year.
Yeah, honestly. It was like 9 and 11 or something like that. It was
Melvin Gordon put up those numbers with a quarterback who couldn't throw for more touchdowns than interceptions. It is absolutely mind-boggling. But your point is,
I will say this. Ludwig is a much better OC than Rudolph. No offense, Rudolph.
It's not close. There's
close.
People that rate him in the top 5 in the country, and I don't think, based off what he's done at Utah, I don't think that's a stretch. It's incredible for the talent level that they have on that roster with what he does for them from a point.
JP, the answer is not Bradrick Shaw.
Oh God,
I was so excited for him to go off that season, and then JT just up and took it and never let go after that.
Ryan agrees. He is blocked for about 303 tutties this week. Calling him Lulu, of course.
Until I see a 300-yard game, I can't start throwing in for 300. 250 would be the first, only the second time this season it's happened.
I also mentioned Grover Bortolotti season. Yeah, we could see some Grover.
Yeah, I'm so scared for the running back room, and this is exactly what my worst fear was coming to the season and why I downgraded our running back room, because we had no third guy. And we still don't, and now we're stuck on we have no clue what Braylon Allen's injury is. If he's out for the rest of the season, I'm really uncomfortable in these remaining games because at some point we're going to have to run the football consistently, especially late in the game where we may want to ice one.
Should have kept that Isaac though, dude.
I think the good thing is that
I don't know if I love him icing a game in the fourth quarter though.
Better than Grover Bortolotti season.
Well, yes, that's a given. But I think I'd rather run Acre for tough yards than IG in that situation.
That's probably true as well.
The thing I do like about Acre though, and this is gonna don't mince my words here, but he's functionally similar to what Braylon Allen gave us.
Yeah,
he's not
is.
Braylon Allen.
I won't
top end wise, he's not the same, but he's functionally.
He's
similar.
much less experienced, but similar skill set.
The good thing is the offense doesn't really change too much, so at least we can still kind of keep that consistency and hopefully work in. I mean, this is a great week to at least work Yakimelli in. because he doesn't have a ton of. I mean, it's better than having him take a snap on the 4-yard line against Ohio State. Like he'll at least have something to work with.
Yeah,
Ryan will probably block better this week. So that's a good thing in that regard. I think I heard, and I don't know how accurate this is. I've heard ankle sprain. It doesn't look like it's season ending. That's what I've heard. I'm not.
Ankle, or is it ankle?
If
it's high ankle, he's out at least 2 weeks.
I was gonna say whichever one's not as bad. I heard ankle sprain, and it's like
high ankle would be like the normal full recovery is like 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, high ankle's like 4 to 6, especially for a guy like Braylon who has.
Yeah,
it's gonna take.
So I think, I heard ankle. So I don't know how accurate that is. That's just kind of the rumor mill that I've heard. I think if it was broken, we probably would have known by now. So I think that's kind of where my head. And he's still on the. I mean, if it was broken, I don't think he'd been on the 2 deep. So I think. I mean, we'll see tomorrow. When they do the injury chart or whatever. But I think there's a chance he comes back. Here's my question to you guys, because this has been floating around. If Mordecai is back, do you start Mordecai over Locke?
No,
not a chance for me. And here's why. I was just gonna say, it's not a chance for me because Locke is going to be your springboard into next year, and I don't think Mordecai was functionally better than Locke.
I agree with that.
If Mordecai was better, like if Mordecai was really playing at a high clip, then you do play him. Because
the offense is far more. It's far cleaner under Locke from what I've seen so far, and I mean that in the terms of what they actually want to accomplish within the scheme. He is far better at being efficient in that than what Mordecai was, and he's far less hesitant. I worry about Mordecai in a game where we need him to make a play if we're down or something like that. Like the comeback against Illinois, I don't think happens with Mordecai, because I think that he would have second guessed or double clutched on some throws that Locke just threw. And I think that that's a problem in that game. Like the deep balls are a big part of it. He doesn't waste time. He just gets it out. He's confident in his reads and he gets rid of the football. And Mordecai, for whatever reason, doesn't feel that way. And he does a lot of other things better. Like I'll take his legs over Locke's any day.
Easily.
But there's just some things there where he just doesn't he just feels like he's afraid of the moment and doesn't want to take chances and risk ruining a game in some regard.
I mean, what about you?
No, I'm right there with you. I think, when you're saying the clean, I think it's the offense is on time with Locke.
Yes,
we're running the plays in sequence. He's making the.
He's very confident in what he's processing.
Calm, and I think that's the thing that I never got the sense that Mordecai felt comfortable.
Yep.
In the offense, whereas Locke, it looks like he's just he's nice and smooth back there.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the things I remember they talk about, in the SEAL teams is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Like when you're learning something new, you do it slowly, and as you practice it, you naturally become fast. That's how I feel like with Locke. I feel like it's very calm, it's very smooth and quick, and I think that that gives us the best, especially now. It gives us the best opportunity to continue to grow our offense. My concern is, I just hope the receivers haven't lost confidence. Because it's that they've just been every week. It's been rough.
Everyone but Pauling, in my opinion. And actually, I will say this. I think Williams has actually been fairly good. Like he hasn't really had drops. He's had a couple of throws that were offline for him. Like that. There was one that got tipped in the Ohio State game that was thrown out his way. But yeah, looking at this, I think that Pauling is the dude. We saw the Strech comment that was thrown up earlier. Strech isn't probably getting thrown in there, but I expect big things. Yeah, it's possible. I would love to see it because I do think that he offers something that isn't in that room right now. He is in the first 10 yards. I don't think we have a guy in the roster that can match what he can do.
Well, let's talk about some of the young players, right? Because you're in that last 4-game stretch. Strech falls in that category. Who do you guys think we might see down this stretch? Because I think Strech could be a guy. I think DeCluna or
has DeCluna played? Has he played
a little bit? It's been very infrequent though.
Yeah, I think he has, but not much, right?
But if he's been in on special teams, that counts toward his.
I'm not sure if he has. I don't know. Someone let me know if he has.
I have no idea.
He has it.
I think here's my take on this, and you correct me if you disagree. I'm concerned with them throwing in young guys because I think right now they're trying to maximize what they can get out of the season. And I think they're going to be afraid to take a risk on a guy who may actually hurt them more than help them by putting him out there. So they may be hesitant to put guys out there. Now, if we get up in games, there's an opportunity where guys may get put out there. But unless we're actually like comfortably ahead or playing well in these games, I don't know how much risk we'll see them take with the roster going forward.
Well, let me
I don't know if I agree with that because I think this team, this coaching staff seems to be much more likely to put in younger guys over guys who've been there based on how they're performing. Like we saw that Nizer's basically starting now, as a corner. You see, Austin Brown was playing a ton on Saturday. What's his face?
I think it depends on what's happening in practice, though. I don't think they're going to chuck somebody out there just to see throw something at the wall and see what happens, kind of thing. Like this staff seems very much like if you prove it in practice, we'll make the move. They're not afraid to change things up. So
they have to do it in practice, but I think Strech is probably a guy that would do that, right?
Yeah.
I think he's looked good in practice.
I have no doubt that he's just carving people up.
So to me, he's a guy and that dovetails into, you look at receiver struggles. Well, that's a perfect opportunity to maybe get into a younger player. Like Scottabell can't catch. I bet you try again.
Same with Anthony. For the love of God, get Vinny Anthony out there. There's no way that he's worse than what we're seeing from Skylar right now.
Or here's an interesting one. It wouldn't stun me if you saw Renfro a little bit in the last 4 games, because now you can play him and save the red shirt. You can play him and apply for a medical, I believe, because you can still play a couple games with Renfro.
Yeah, I think you need to if he's going to be your guy. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just, that's something Coach and I were talking about. I think it wouldn't shock me if you saw him in moments, and then next year you maybe have him for the whole year. I don't know.
For the love of God, I hope so, because I can't handle another year of these snaps. And I think we all agree Bortolini is much better guard and actually makes the line as a whole stronger.
I was going to say the fact I think him moving to guard would just improve the line in general. He's gotten better at his snaps.
He has. He's made progress. It's just I don't think he's ever going to be what you want from your starting center.
He's not.
Not that he's a terrible blocker, but I just don't think from a snapping standpoint. Like when we heard all this time where people are saying, "Oh, nobody's ever said anything to me about snaps or whatever from Bortolini." The coaches flat out admit that it was an issue, and I'm like, no kidding, it's an issue. It's a timing based offense. Like there's no way.
Straight cat.
Yeah, 100%. I want to throw this comment up here. Neza says Ashcraft is the most overrated player on the roster. Don't you dare talk about my tall redwood tree of a tight end like that.
He's a true freshman.
He's a freshman.
Yeah, he's a true freshman. I don't think you're going to have overrated. It's impressive that he's even getting on the field.
Yeah. Exactly. It's also a lack of depth. But no, I can think about
saying he's that good that he's not going to make mistakes as a freshman.
I don't think I've seen anything that anyone thinks he's all world. That's a very thin room. We are very limited for depth.
Grant Stack, come on down.
Yeah, no kidding.
Booker maybe as well. A couple
back into the fold.
Derek said, Justin, what's your 1 rep max on the bench press? Ryan, what's yours? And Curtis, while you're here, what's yours as well? And listen, if you're in the chat, throw it up there too. Do you want
all time best, or do you want current bench press best?
Let's go all time. That seems.
Oh, well, I'm same for me right now.
Yeah, my all time was 325. That was probably 2 years ago. But I haven't really done a lot since. So
I haven't done a 1 rep max. I showed Ryan a couple weeks ago. I got up, or last week, I got up 270 for a 2 rep. I would guess 285 maybe. My goal is 300 by the end of the year. I think that I can hit that comfortably because I've started upping the rest of my sets to kind of push it a little bit more. I've been lax with kind of trying to build. So now I want to prove it before I got 2 months to do it.
So I'll start by saying I'm more of a Cavs guy.
I'll beat you on that too, believe me.
I'm more of a jump guy, like a point guard build.
There you go.
I've never, honest to goodness, I'm obviously not that strong upper body. I don't really even know what my max would be. I've never tried. I honestly have never tried. It wouldn't be that much. 130 maybe. I don't know.
You're over that. I'll give you. You'd hit more than that. How much you weigh?
The camera puts on a few. Like 210, 200.
I think we could probably get you at 175.
How tall
185.
are you?
You don't lift at all, so 175, 185, and it'll probably go up fast.
Oh, that'd be not too bad. How tall are you?
6 foot.
Okay. Yeah. So you could easily hit that.
Okay, I'll take that. Adamato is at 335 in the chat. Jeez, man.
We got to figure. Are we gonna have a leaderboard put into the Discord to see?
We need a combine. We need a locked on combine.
There we go. I need to get back in shape.
Yeah, we'll maybe next year we'll do a locked on combine.
I'm down.
Adam Otto says he's 5'6" in the 40. There you go, Adam.
Well, that'll help.
And Ryan's
short lever arms.
My best was like a 4'9". I don't know, but if I start doing squats and stuff, I might be able to get back to that.
John says I can't bench more than 115. I guarantee you I can get over 115, John. You
could probably get bench more than 115.
All right,
come on, man.
Let's keep going here, guys. I know. Excuse me, fighting my voice, Curtis. I know basketball's not your biggest thing, but I do want to just ask at least Justin in the comments, Justin, how are we feeling after the recruitment didn't go our way today? Basketball's able to start. And I want to ping you on Connor off the bench. Where are you at on that potential thought process?
I'll start with the whole with Jacobson.
Daniel Jacobson. Yeah, sorry.
He wasn't a guy that we were truly targeting until later in the cycle. So I mean, I understand. I don't think if he wouldn't have dropped into the 2024 class, I don't think we go for him at all. So it's a loss. I don't love seeing him go to Purdue, which I think annoys me more than anything. And some of the comments that were made about, Purdue giving him the best chance to go pro. I hate to tell you this, Purdue big men are not going to be playing in the NBA. Like, you may not get a nice overseas career, but they're not exactly grabbing guys that are like the NBA prototype for what they're looking for a guy to be put out on the court. Connor off the bench. He's going to play starters minutes. I kind of like it in terms of what I think the best all-around five in terms of like their all-around ability is what they showed in the first game. Klesmet is a more balanced player than what Connor is, but Connor's offensive upside is definitely higher. I agree with Ryan. We talked a little bit about this when we were down for the Ohio State game. I think you really want Storr and him out on the court together, though, because the gravity that Storr takes is going to make it so easy for Connor to get good, clean looks. And he's so good at coming off screens. Like, if you can find some ways to get Storr putting pressure on the defense where guys start collapsing, Connor's going to get open looks left and right.
So the first one with Daniel Jacobson, I was bummed because when you watch the film, he looks like a guy who's going to be a good Big Ten player. It's not that you just lost, but guards got to close on a higher clip.
He does.
He just does.
It's frustrating to see him miss on guys who are like 3 stars, and especially from Wisconsin, who say that they're a self-professed Wisconsin fan. Yeah. It's like, okay,
well, maybe
how do we miss this?
I mean,
that could very well be it. That could 100% be. That's why people like prerogative, like Ryan.
That's a pretty Wisconsin fan thing to say right now. So I mean, he might just be a Wisconsin fan. We don't know.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it's weird though, because if you look at the checkbox, it's like, does he fit the system? Check. Yes, he does. Is he a fan of the program? Check. Yes, he is. Is he available? Check. Yes, he is. Could they offer him? He checks so many boxes. At the end of the day, guard just needs to sell it a little bit better. I don't think he's a closer.
We've talked about this, and this is exactly how I'll say it. Every time you say that he's not a great recruiter in some regards, and for me, it's strictly closing. He gets us in battles, but he does not close. And everyone will push back and say, well, he was Bo Ryan's number 1 recruiter. Okay, but Bo Ryan was the guy that closed those, and that's the difference. So they did all the prep work and got everyone ready and got them ready to be sold, and then Bo Ryan would close the door. And that's where we're having problems with Greg Gard. Greg Gard does all the legwork, gets everything ready to go, but does not close the door. And that's where we run into problems with him. And it makes me look at these. We've had some really nice pickups lately, but I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, we got these guys. Now I'm curious, would we have locked them down earlier if he was maybe a better seller, and maybe we have less, because every one of these recruitments is a total grind. And it's like, really good coaches don't have this problem. Like, the recruitments, they may drag out a little bit, but it's not a grind. Like, you never feel like you're wavering. Like, if you're out in the lead, really good coaches don't give up a lead in recruitments. It may take a bit to close the door, but they typically hold it, and it's like, all right, it's done.
Here's my question, and I'm curious as you guys' thoughts, because again, I don't follow basketball as closely, but you lose a guy like a Con or the guy we lost today. And is that done? Like, does Greg Gard keep going after him? Because I can tell you straight up,
basketball is different than football.
The guys we've lost.
Yeah,
basketball is different than football. There's kind of an unwritten rule that once a guy commits, you kind of back off a little bit. It doesn't always happen. We saw in the Tyler Hero case. that the top teams will still do it. The top teams, the ones with the most cachet, they don't care. Like they'll do whatever they want to do, and because they get away with it.
Well, and that's why I say because when Urban Meyer came to the Big Ten, there was an unwritten rule that when someone commits in the Big Ten, you don't go after them. Urban Meyer said, "Screw this!
Yeah,
I want the best players.
So he just said, I'm going to get the best players," and then that's what they did. And so then every other team was like, "Okay, well, I guess we got to do that now too." And now football's the way it is. And that's my question, because it's like, look, we could say, "Oh, we just lost," and throw our hands in the air, or we could say, "No, man, we really want you. Like, come play with us." Like, I just don't. To me, that doesn't. And again, maybe this is why I don't follow basketball as closely. To me, that's like just I don't know. Like, come on, like you can't. You're just going to give up like that. How are we going to win a title if you just give up in that situation? If the top teams are saying, "Well, yeah, we still want you, so come to us," like, I mean, and we're just going to say, "No, it's fine. You can have them." Like that to me, just
Well, I mean, for us in that regard, it's not like people are taking people from us. We're just not closing them to begin with. So
that's true. I mean, that's not wrong.
The other part of it is if you lose this guy, and obviously Jacobson went to Purdue, you're not going to go to Purdue and get him back from Purdue. Like he's already chose Purdue over you. You know what I mean? Like he's already. It's hard to. You're not flipping him from a lesser school.
We're virtually a month out from these kids being locked in. Like they're going to be signing. Or is basketball November or is it December like football? I think is there a November one? I thought there's a November one.
Yeah, I think it's November too. We'll figure out. If you're in chat, let us know. The other thing with the Connor one.
Chat knows.
I don't love Connor off the bench. I'm just gonna be honest.
I don't care either way. I like Klesmit better off the bench too because I think he's kind of more capable of creating his own offense.
Well, the thing with Klesmit is I think that the nice thing about your bench pieces is you want a couple Swiss Army knives, right? A guy who can come in and fill 1 through 3.
He's a combo. Yeah, he can play. He can play.
Shot maker, defender. Because you don't really know how the game's going to start. If you remember our games last year, we had slow starts, and we brought Connor off the bench to fix the slow starts, which he did. I think you keep him on the starting unit to have that better start because he spaces the floor for Storr, he spaces the floor for Crowell, he spaces the floor for Wall, he creates gravity. I just think he augments all of those starters so much better. And then you have this veteran presence coming off the bench who, by the way, proved he could do it in the second half of last year. Also, like, I don't think you want to mess. I'm sure Guard has talked about Connor with this, but I don't think you want to mess around with one of your star young players in the era of transfers. That's a weird thing to talk about, but I'm just telling you I wouldn't do it.
I mean, without knowing more about it, who has any clue what actually went down? He might have actually said, "Hey, I'm fine with doing it," and maybe he likes running on the second unit, him and Blackwell. Because I think the more we're seeing this, I think Blackwell's going to be getting some spot minutes at that point.
Me too. I can almost guarantee you Connor's not saying I would rather be on the second unit.
I don't disagree with that. I don't want to say like when you know how it's a brotherhood with some of these sports. Mm-hmm. Like he may look at it and be like, I'm fine, just I want my minutes and I want my shots.
That's what I was gonna say. Like if he gets minutes, like is it gonna make that much of a difference? Or I mean, I don't know. Like that's my thought. Like if he gets started level minutes, like
I'll tell you this for a fact. Some starting is a big deal for some players. I'm not saying it is for Connor or not. For some players, starting is a huge deal. Now, he will still get his minutes, but it's not just the fact of his minutes or not. I like his minutes coming out of the gate with the starters. But, I mean, it's interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see either way. I'm very curious to see it.
Well, it can always shift, too. I mean, it's not like it's set in stone.
Yeah. For sure.
We'll see the next game. It changes.
Golden done.
No idea.
I'll tell you this. I wouldn't write it off is what I would say. But I think I said this in another show, just hope for the best for him. Like people are people first, they're athletes second. Hope for the best. And if he comes back to Madison, incredible, awesome. And that's where I'm at. Guys, anything else you wanted to talk about here? We talked about Melvin Gordon, Taylor, Indiana, basketball, Connor Essegien, recruiting, Greg Guard, fire Greg Guard, not fire Greg Guard, bench press 40 times, vertical jump. This has been a good one so far. I'm going to throw a couple more comments in here. There was a comment about Hallman. Hallman, best Badgers cornerback since ...
Nick Nelson, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say probably Nelson.
Do you think Nelson was better than Hallman? Not a better playmaker.
I think he's a better lockdown. I think he's a better lockdown.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Hallman's got more upside just based on his age and like how he's been performing and how we've seen him progress. But Nelson came in and was like a one and done guy. You know, I think he played great that season.
Yeah. I look at it, I think from a measurable standpoint, I think Nelson might have had a little bit more length, a little more size. than what Hallman does, which gave him some flexibility in terms of locking somebody down.
Nelson was definitely bigger.
Let's put it this way.
Nelson
got drafted. We need to see more from Hallman to know that he's a draftable player in terms of how they'll look at him fitting into an NFL defense. And that's kind of the question I have with him is, are they going to look at him that his measurables fit and that his skill set fits what they want to do in the NFL? I don't know that yet at this point.
If he keeps going with the season he's having, though, you think he's coming back?
I think so. He's pretty young. He's a redshirt sophomore, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
It would be bad. It would be really bad for us if he does, because I don't know what we're doing next year if that's the case.
I thought he was a redshirt junior. So
yeah, I think he's a redshirt sophomore, but he could definitely listen.
That's still draft eligible.
That's draft eligible. Yeah. You put good film out. You got 5 picks.
I mean, you're leading one of the top corners in the Big Ten. You're high at PFF every year, which
probably won't get better for him.
Well, here's the thing, Justin. Like with his physical tools, and then Robert, I'll let you talk. I'm sorry, I brought you in and haven't even said hi.
No problem.
With his physical tools, the film isn't going to get better than this year.
Yes, I don't disagree. I just don't know what his aspirations are long term.
Is he better than Wild Goose? Is another question.
Hallman,
Wild Goose definitely have better physical tools.
I think Hallman's a better corner though. I actually think
I wouldn't disagree with that. He's definitely more technically sound. Wild Goose just had more. He was more physically gifted.
Yeah. Well, and like I've been saying, it's Frank Gore's stepkid, so I feel like having the connections in the NFL could help him out too.
Dude, I love
There's some things to like about him. I love his short area quickness. He recovers very well.
I mean, when you play Marvin Harrison Jr.
Hallman played. Yeah, he played him well.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, how you feel on the Indiana game, man?
I think they should have it. I'm with Ehlers with Lulu. I don't know. Like you said, though, I don't know if I can go for over 300 though for him. But
I'd love to see it. I want to see him to throw up some big games. I'd love to see us start to the offense finally start clicking. But at this point, it's like we kind of are what we are. Like until it's proven. It's like this. We can look at about 220 to 250 probably of passing yardage and a couple of touchdowns if we're lucky.
Yeah.
We got a Desmond Southward comment from Nez. Southward was a safety, though. If we're talking corner,
he was a safety, and he had from a physical tool standpoint, he had like elite NFL measurables. It's just that he did not have the instincts at all for the NFL.
What year was he? Why can't I remember what year he was?
He was one of the Gordon years, so he was like what?
Is he like 2012?
Was it that early? Was it earlier than that? I thought it was like 2014.
It was like around when I know I was in college when he was there. I just can't remember what year he was.
Guys, this is from P. He said, "Let's talk Michigan for a second." We haven't really talked Michigan. Maybe we'll wrap up on that.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to Justin and Rajiv. I said, "Don't be surprised if Ohio State beats Michigan this year." Honestly, I kind of thought it might happen anyway, just because it's hard to beat Ohio State 3 years in a row, even though Michigan is better. But the Big Ten, there's going to be 50-50 calls that go against Ohio State or Michigan in this game.
That'll be interesting because, I don't think you can be. It can't be obvious.
No, but you can throw a holding call really easily.
It is. There's holding on every play. We know that.
The Big Ten does not want Michigan to go to the playoffs, is all I'll say there.
I don't know. I feel like they kind of do.
Yeah.
Really?
They want that money.
The issue I have is that
the issue is what I'm saying.
Well, the issue I have with it is this: if they win it and lose it right away, it doesn't really do anything for us, and that's why I feel like Michigan is getting to that point where this could very well end up being one of those things where you win the title and it's like, nope, we're yanking it from you right off the bat because this stuff is sketchy. And it's like, well, then you just basically set your house on fire with this because once that happens, they're going to take everything. And I will guarantee Harbaugh leaves if that's what happens. And it feels like that's where we're going because it seems pretty obvious. Like do you see the Josh Pate thing?
Oh no.
He had that. They showed him in the background, and he had the Ray-Bans on with the little camera that's in him. And he's like, "Oh, this." And he's like, "See the guy in the background with the little blue dot on there?" And he's like, wearing sunglasses, well after dark.
Who's that?
Well, they just fired Stallions today.
Wearing.
I saw that
Nike shoes at an Adidas school, and as we
that was wild. What's his face? The coach guy. I don't remember. I can't remember the coach's name, but he was like, "Yeah, we have no idea who that guy was. We're looking into it now. He wasn't on any record. He wasn't in any list. We have no idea how he got on the field. I mean, it is Central Michigan. No offense to them, but it's not like it's, Fort Knox getting on that field."
Yeah.
Listen, John, you can get on anytime you want. You got to dial in like all the other regular people. Stop being it's just chilling in the comment section. Dial in. Jump on the show.
Get in here, JB.
Stop hiding in the comment section.
You might get kicked off for arguing. I feel like that's a likelihood.
That part is true. That part is true. Rob,
John, you can come in and tell us why Kalu would revolutionize this offense.
Or Cole LaCruz. It's Cole LaCruz.
Yeah.
By the way, not to say anything, but Cole LaCruz, like I heard good things. That's all I'll say.
I don't think anybody's arguing it. Like you and I love the film when we saw him. It's like there's a lot to prove there. College or high school quarterbacks, it's a completely different ball game once you get to this level.
I think the problem with the Cruz is he's such a wild card.
Yes,
I feel like he'll just chuck it.
Don't you feel like that's something? Don't you feel like that's something that, in a way, that what's his name, Longo likes? Like I feel like he likes somebody like that. Doesn't that feel like that's what what's his name?
Very Sam Howell. Yeah,
Howell. Yes, it's very Sam Howell. Howell felt like a wild card. Like you'd watch him play, and he was like the mad bomber out there. He's like, I'll take shots. And I'll run for 800 or 900 yards or whatever.
I was gonna say he was also like 220 and there's like a tank.
Yeah, he's a tank. And he was a little dude too. Like he's like almost my build. It's like running around at quarterback.
Yeah, I think he probably likes the LaCruz type of player. By the way, that's a guy they didn't have to take LaCruz, right? The new staff came in, they cut ties on some players. Like you remember the running back from Ohio, Ironton. They like my voice. They like LaCruz. It's just they also now brought in Locke, younger Locke's coming, Medwire's coming. Like it's a stable, and that's what you want that way. Yeah. Here's the thing. I think Justin, you said something like this. I've said this. It doesn't matter who hits as long as
somebody has to hit. Yeah. They need somebody to be an NFL level quarterback, and that will. We see Wisconsin hit on a quarterback like that, and now you're playing with everyone in the Big Ten. Like there is nobody that they can't play with if they get a quarterback that's an NFL type quarterback. Because you'll have a dude that's throwing it in time and throwing dimes all over the field, and that changes everything when teams try to play you.
Let's kick it to Rob here for a second. What else is on your mind, my friend? Anything that we've talked about? Anything else you want to talk about?
Let's see. We got to get Jack Dunn. Let him coach up these receivers. Let him be scrappy.
Hey, he's got 10 years in the.
You're banned.
Like he knows what's happening.
Well. But no.
Did Eilers put you up to this?
Yeah, I saw it earlier. Like I said, he was really good at getting in the other DBs' heads. You know, they were always trying to fight him.
Wrestling. I remember the slap fight that he was having.
He was always blocking, and they're like, "Well, we can't call a flag on the little guy." You know,
he got flipped over in the Arizona State game. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Eilers calls him the short king.
Yep. There's Eilers. We'll wrap it up there, guys. Round table. I know Justin, you've already made yours, but let's throw the Indiana prediction out there. Rob, we'll kick it off with you since you were kind of last one here.
Yeah, but let's go 38-17.
Ooh, that's a lot of points.
I like it. I'll take it.
So you kind of almost exactly stole my prediction, and the reason I was going to make that prediction is because when I watched Indiana, the closest team they reminded me of is like an above-average MAC team. And we've played one of those already this year, and that's exactly what happened. But I think that this is going to be the game where I think, the offense starts to come together. I think you're going to see Locke spread around, and I'm going to be super optimistic because you stole my score prediction. I'm going to say Wisconsin 42-13.
Oh, the 40 burger.
I'm going to say this. Eilers, you're like one of Ricky Bobby's little kids grown up.
Dude, those are spicy scores, man.
Hey, man, just give them some Mountain Dew. They'll be good to go.
I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey.
Wes Mollenix has 44-12. Eilers got 42-13. Locke's got 4 touchdowns. Y'all are crazy.
Somebody's gotten into the edibles tonight.
I need to bring this. So I think we win, right? I think we cover, but I have a hard time seeing us put up upper 30s, especially if Braylon Allen isn't playing. I like Locke. That's still a big piece of that offensive component being out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it
could. I mean, there's a chance. Like,
I'll say my prediction hinges on, and I put this on. I think the receivers are going to catch the ball this week. I think that they've heard it enough.
That'd be nice. That'd be a nice change. Enough.
I think that if they catch the ball this week and Locke, finds the open people like he's been finding them, and that those two things connect together, I think we're going to hit that score.
I'm still going to say that doesn't happen because I've seen it not happen all year, and these are the same guys.
I'm really hoping that Vinny Anthony proved himself with that catch that they got in the last game, and that they're going to be like, all right, let's give this guy some more reps. Like he needs to be out there more.
I mean, the separation should come easier. You're not going against Ohio State cornerbacks.
Yeah.
I agree, but we've dropped
the number one defense in the country.
I don't think the separation has been an issue. It's been guys just getting their hands on the like Locke. That first game had like 6 drops, and they were all routine catches. Like there was not a tough catch that was dropped in that game. Like those are catches high school kids make that are not playing for college.
Apparently 9-year-olds make them too.
Yeah. Dude, Fickle, you could tell he is so over the drops.
Yeah.
Of course he is, because those are killers, man. Those are absolute killers, right? If you touch it, you clutch it. I'm going to say more like 30-17, 27-14. I don't think we're scoring upper 30s with the offense we've seen without Braylon Allen, but I still think we win and we cover. Like Indiana does not scare me that much at all. It's one of the easier games I have on the slate. Ryan Adler says, if you touch it, you clutch it. We'll start to wrap up there. Adam, I'm 22-10.
I will say that this is the worst rated defense in almost every category. The rest of the season, all season.
Oh, we got JB on here.
Is he coming on?
Yeah, let me see if I can add another camera slot.
Or
Curtis, I'm gonna pop you just.
I feel like
there's JV.
I'm on. Midwest. Missouri is Midwest.
Family friendly, no swearing.
Yeah.
Here's my car. Here's my Porsche.
What is happening? Where are you?
He's outside. He's showing the Porsche off.
Got the Hummer?
You get the basketball hoop blocked, man. That's not right.
I'm in my driveway. Show my drive. Here's my Humvee, dude.
This isn't Cribs, JB. We're talking about
Locked on Cribs.
what is
Do you connect that directly to the gas station so that you can finish your drive?
I'm getting a Bucky Badger for the hood. I'm getting a Bucky Badger made for the hood.
JB, what's your Indiana prediction?
I'm going to go Irish. 33, 20, 11 field goals.
What did he say?
Vacos 33-20, 11 field goals for Wisconsin.
I love it. I love it.
Vacos is just going to go off. He's going to have the greatest college kicker game of all time.
What if your boy LeCroux gets
they should have let him kick that 54-yarder.
Let's just throw another one in there. He's going to hit a 70-yarder. Let's just do it.
That's high school. In St. Louis, that's high school ball.
I love the comments.
70 yards.
He says we're getting Breaking Bad vibes.
Look at that. Did you see it?
JB.
JB 100.
Dude,
that's my thing. See that? That's my license plate.
I don't know if you know your license plate, JB. Like, there's like real privacy.
I don't care. Really? I'm way past that, man. You don't know anything about me.
I'm on your license plate now. That's enough.
Get Scary Alvarez out here. Come on. Slap him around a little bit.
Ryan would like to see the people that you have stuck in the trunk.
First of all, the trunk of the Porsche is in front. That's the front.
So we hear him like knocking on the hood.
Yeah, I'll go get a flashlight.
Oh, I'm dying.
It's dark outside.
My face hurts.
Oh my God. We got a JB and Justin 24 president.
You know what W's for Wisconsin?
Wait. Who's going to be the president?
President. I just want to be the mayor. The mayor gets paid.
I'm glad we brought you in at the end because this was destined to go off the rails as soon as you came aboard.
Of course. I figured you guys would kick me off. I can't believe you let me on this long.
No. Right.
All right.
Ryan's highest rated show of all time.
Justin, vice president, just in the background shaking his head.
You can
okay, so this is the inside of the Hungry. There's no bodies.
JB, we're talking bad.
That's the inside of it. I think. Okay, what do you want to talk about? Michael Finley is the greatest basketball player ever that played for the Badgers.
True or
You
false?
want to hear a great Finley story? So I was in college, and Finley. So we had. Do you guys know like back then? Do you guys know like back like when we had Yoder and all those? We got Stu Jackson, Griffith, who was the Knicks. Yeah, Rashard Griffith, all those guys. So we had Stu Jackson come in, who was the former coach for the Knicks, and he came in and he brought 3 guys in. And so before that, we never had anything. We used to win 10 games a season, 8. It was awful. And they had Midnight Madness. Do they still do Midnight Madness? They still do that?
They've done it before, but I don't think they do it every year.
Okay, we had Dick Vitale.
They do something like that.
So at midnight, they had Dick Vitale come out, and we were like, what's going on here? So 2 goofy white guys like clank it off the side of the rim for a slam dunk contest. Excuse me. And then all of a sudden, Finley comes out and dunked from the free throw line. Everybody went nuts, and he came out and did 3 or 4 more dunks, reverse dunks, everything. We were like, no way, how do we get this guy? And dude, the next year it was the first time in 30 years we went to the NCAA tournament. It was crazy. So
he was a machine.
Yeah, I'll put Finley up there at number 1. I don't even.
It's not really close. Like the closest person would be.
It would be Kaminsky, right? National Player of the Year.
Well, no, it would be. Who was the point guard?
It's not Devin Harris. If we're talking best player at Wisconsin,
if we're talking like what they ended up being, I think Devin Harris is the second best.
Are we talking college though, or the NBA?
Well, if we're talking college, it was probably Finley from an overall like what he was because he carried that team.
Showalter.
Frank was on a really good team.
Showalter. Showalter was not.
It'd be Frank.
Showalter was a starter. He was the whole team.
All right,
he was not a role player, Ryan.
Because Kaminsky shut down Gordon, and I mean Gordon.
He was not a role player.
Who? Showalter? Yes, he was. Stop it.
He was not a role player. He could shoot. He could play defense. He could drill between his legs. He could drill between his legs.
You are describing a role player right now.
What a role player!
Showalter would be the best player on this team right now by a lot.
Stop it!
Come on.
No,
he's better. Oh yeah, he would. Who would start?
JB, you are losing credibility for your fire guard takes.
Dude, I'm from the Lou, man. I'm from the Lou. I ooze street cred, man.
We need to all start reevaluating his perspective on LaCrue. We're gonna have
I might have to take back my fire guard comments. You know, JB got me on the train.
No, come on, man. You're the only one on the train with me.
No, somebody else put it on there.
I gotta have somebody riding shotgun, man.
Hey,
I can't drive the Porsche alone.
I will say this: he's got a chance to be a great player, but the one thing I will say is there's a couple of guys that are more refined than him coming in behind him. That's what's going to be. He's got to get it. He's going to have to take the steps. He's capable of it. Like they all have good skill sets. Every one of them could be a good college quarterback.
You know what I love about him is I love his story.
Oh,
his story is great. His dad passed away, and then he went out and dedicated the next year in one state. He took a 4-8 team or whatever they were, and took them and went 14-0 in one state.
He's a mentally tough kid, which is a big deal.
He carried him. He's a winner. Like LaCrue's a winner.
And he's that. And you know what? And Ryan, I want to see him in interviews, man. We got to see him in interviews. You know, he's got to get the field if we're going to see him in an interview.
He's got a little Bart Houston in him for interviews.
He believes himself. I love the swagger that LaCrue has. Like all great quarterbacks.
He's so great.
Period.
Ryan recruited him to Wisconsin.
I know he did.
He interviewed him before he got a scholarship.
Like 3 times. He's had him on 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still remember, Ryan. You want to go back and talk about the quarterback that you actually wanted to recruit that year?
I wanted Ryan Brown, who ended up going to Purdue.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Who said we should take LaCrue?
There were 3 quarterbacks. No, there were 3 quarterbacks. It was LaCrue, Ryan Brown, and the kid from IMG, the second IMG team, who ended up going to Miami. This was when we had no quarterbacks committed, and all these 3 quarterbacts were out there. And Justin and I were both like, "What in the world are we waiting for?"
Make an offer. We have no one.
Well, the one that they wanted was Ohio State now, right?
Yeah. Well, he went to Washington and then to Ohio State. Yep.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, these other guys.
Are you talking Brown?
No.
See, I think look, he would be kind of like Dugan, whatever his name was last year for TCU. I think he's that kind of guy. You know, he's just a gamer.
I would have to see him run because Dugan was a really high level runner at the college level. Like, and that's different than it's just different than high school.
Normal.
Wait, that's like words, man.
Dugan was a top shelf runner as a quarterback in college football. LaCrue was a good runner in high school. We need to see it translate.
Justin was
Ryan. What concert am I taking you to?
Say what?
What concert do you want to go to?
Dude, I've never been.
I feel like it's an.
Where take you? I think NSYNC's going to be coming. NSYNC's coming next summer.
I would go see NSYNC. Are you kidding me?
I know you would. You watched Total Request Live. You're right, Abe.
I would have to go see NSYNC.
Are you going to dance?
If
we got good seats, you got to dance though. You got to do the NSYNC dance though.
I've never been to a concert in my life.
Islanders, that's you and me, the Taylor Swift Eras Tour.
This went absolutely off the rails.
Yeah.
We're up there.
Yeah.
On Wisconsin. We'll do a recap show, obviously the therapy show tomorrow, win or lose, as we always do. And thank you for tuning in to whatever this was.
If you like Locked On Badgers After Dark, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button.
That's
it.
Look
at Sorensen getting.
Oh yeah! Don't forget to ring that bell so you get the notifications for the live shows.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
On
Don't forget to tip your waitress. Don't forget to tip your waitress. They work hard for that money.
JB.
Bubbles on stage 3.
Let's go. Beat Iowa.